Hello, everybody.
Donna.
Welcome.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Danielle, Ashley, Doug.
Oh, this is so great.
Nice to see so many wonderful people coming on. Hi, Malcolm.
Nice to see you again, Carla.
Yes, you too. Hi, Kim, Liz, Tim.
Oh, this is wonderful. I'm just going to continue admitting people from the waiting room in. But while people are still joining, I would love if you all could just quickly put your name in the chat and maybe include where you're calling from. And if you can remember what year and program you attended at the Collegeville Institute, sometimes it can be a blur, put that in the chat and then we can kind of all get a sense for who's here. And Jesse, if you want to admit anybody else who comes into the waiting room, that would be really great. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Wow, we've got someone from South Africa. That's so awesome. Hi, Brianna. Oh, this is great. I love seeing where everyone is zooming in from.
You know, as people are popping on, I'm seeing people from, the early years of our writing workshop programs to the most recent years of our writing workshop program. So it's exciting. It's going to be a powerhouse group.
Well, I just want to say good morning. Some of you who are coming in from the Pacific side, it's very early, or it's much earlier. Here in the Midwest, it's 10 a.m. and it's snowing outside. So you might be happier where you're at with the weather. But I just wanted to say welcome to our virtual alumni gathering. We're hosting this event in conjunction with the Festival of Faith and Writing, which is a conference that's typically held in person at Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And as you might have heard, it's online and virtual, and we were just disappointed that we weren't going to be able to be there in person. And we typically have a little alumni gathering of folks who come to that conference. And so when they said they were going to go virtual, I thought, you know what, we could still do this. We could still meet and hang out and talk and reconnect. So that is the purpose of this event. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Stina Kielsmeyer-Cook. I'm the Director of Communications at the Collegeville Institute. And like I said, the purpose of this gathering is really just to reconnect with one another. Some of you attended writing workshops 10 years ago. Some of you have been connected more recently. And it's a way for us just to kind of get to know one another. And it's also a way to kind of encourage each other as spiritual writers. You know, writing is a really lonely, isolating activity at times, and it can be really helpful to just have some conversations with people who are in similar places, figuring out how to write during a pandemic, figuring out how to pitch, how to get their work out there, or just what the next step might be in their writing life. So that is why we're here today. And I hope that you all were able to order some food from Grubhub, or maybe you'll get to do that later today. Just, take something off your plate so you have some time to write. And so I'm just going to give you a little brief outline of what we're going to do this morning. We're going to do some writing. We're going to be in some small groups to give you a chance to connect a little bit more one-to-one, or we're actually going to do groups of 3. And then at the end, we're going to have a chance to do some Q&A. And to start us off, we're going to do a quick giveaway just to make this fun. Carla, I don't know if you guys attended writing workshops at the Institute, but if you did in the summer, everyone gets a really cool Collegeville Institute water bottle. So she's holding it up for everyone. So we're going to do a quick giveaway to get us started. And the way that it's going to work is the first person to answer this question in the chat, so get your fingers on the keyboard, will be the winner. So the question is, what is your favorite snack in the Butler Center? If you didn't go to the Butler Center, wherever it was that you had a writing workshop. So send it in to the chat, and the first person to do it will get a water bottle. Pretzels, candy. LaCroix. Oh, I was so glad somebody said LaCroix. That was my everything. Okay, so it looks like Ashley is the winner. So Ashley, if you can private message me your address, we will get you a Collegeville Institute water bottle. Okay, so thank you for participating in our fun little giveaway. But now I'm going to turn it over to two fellow Collegeville Institute alums, Ellie Roscher and Javon Bolden. We're so lucky to have them here with us to help host this event. So I'm going to turn it over to them and ask them to introduce themselves and how they're connected to the Collegeville Institute.
Jevon, you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Hello, everybody. It is just absolutely wonderful to be with you all today. It's great to see so many from a few different workshops. My name is Javon Bolden. I am the CEO and founder of Bolden Media Group. We are a literary agency and publishing consulting firm located in Florida. And I know for some people it's snowing, and here it's pretty warm. Today it's overcast, but it's still kind of bright out. And the workshop I attended was Identity and Disbelonging with Enuma Okoro, and with 11 other amazing writers. Ellie Roscher was one of them, and we had a wonderful time doing some personal essay writing and really just diving into some really deep stories. And I'm excited to be with you all today to kind of leave you in a few writing prompts and answer some of your questions about publishing and writing.
Thanks, Javon. My name is Ellie Roscher. I'm so excited to be here and see all of your faces. I have a couple of connections. I sit on the board at the Collegeville Institute, and through that, I got the wonderful invitation to host the Unlikely Conversations podcast. So I have had the distinct pleasure of interviewing a couple folks here in this room, Lindsay and Liz, for the podcast. So if you haven't ever checked that out, please do so. Every time I get to interview someone, I zoom up out of my body and be like, how is this my job? This is so cool to sit at the feet of really, really fascinating people and ask them questions and just hear what they're thinking about. And we, at the Collegeville Institute, we kind of just say something special happens here. We get really interesting people at tables together. And so the podcast is hoping just to kind of share access to that table and get those interesting conversations out to a wider audience. I have also taken 2 writing workshops. As Javon said, we met at Enuma Okoro's Identity and Disbelonging workshop, which met at the Collegeville Institute. It was a powerhouse table of fierce women, and the conversation was so rich. I left completely transformed. And Javon and I, you know how you kind of have assigned seats in those classes? We were sitting kind of kitty corner and, just like really connected across the table. And I look forward to any opportunity I can get to work with her. And then I also more recently took Mystic Activists online with Dr. Shanika Walker-Barnes and Jonathan Wilson-Hartgrove. Also just such a beautiful group of humans gathered, such talented writers. And I learned so much there. So, and one of the reasons I get excited for this group in terms of faith writers supporting each other. My 4th book is coming out in December, and I've published with Christian presses, and I've published with secular presses. I've published with agents, and I've published without agents. And so I love talking to other writers about the business of writing and kind of pulling the veil off of that and just getting real about how to do kind of the drudgery of the industry while holding space to really commit to the art of writing, and how to get our words out to a wider audience. So we'll be talking about that a little bit today. So thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm going to do a couple of things to get us into our bodies, to kind of get us ready to write, to take Javon's writing prompts and explore a little bit. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to do a 1-word check-in in the chat. This is just to get a sense of the energy that's in our collective Zoom space here, and it's also one invitation to kind of drop into your body and notice how your body is doing. So Maybe close your eyes, maybe like bring your awareness down from your brain into your body. Notice how your body is feeling. We don't support toxic positivity here. We want to know how you actually are. How are you feeling today? What kind of energy are you bringing into this shared Zoom space today? And then pick a word. Put it in the chat so we can kind of get a sense of the collective community gathered here today. How are you doing? Frazzled, held, depleted, engulfed, anxious, content, calm, holding joy and anxiety, pizzazzed, awake, shifting, energetic, catching up, here, thoughtful, achy back. That is a consuming type of pain, Carla. Settling, longing, listening. Beautiful. Thank you. It's so powerful. It's so powerful to get a tiny taste of where you're coming from and how you're doing. And we're never just one thing, right? But in community, we have the capacity to hold each other in how we're showing up. And it's just good to acknowledge that. So I'm gonna lead us in a little bit of breath work to deepen our experience of our bodies and also to get us grounded in this community, in this moment, in this place. So I'm going to invite you to look around in the space where you are. This is grounding and orienting yourself. So take a look at your four walls. Make sure to notice where the windows and the exits are. And you might be in a space that's extremely familiar. So this is the practice of a writer, is to notice something new, even through the mundane, even through the ordinary. So don't just look, but see something, notice something. Keep that muscle of noticing from atrophying. Allow yourself to be delighted by something in a space that might be quite ordinary. And then take a look at your ceiling. Notice the color and the texture of your ceiling. Notice how far away it is from you. And also notice your floor. Notice the color and the texture of your floor. Okay, so this is an invitation to get present in the place that we are, right? In our four walls. Allow those four walls to kind of hold us and allow the rest to fall out of focus. Be in this room right now. And then I'm going to invite you to take any movement that your body wants to take. Kind of move without overthinking it. I always say to envision like a small child or a pet waking up from a nap that just moves without any self-consciousness. Notice if there's cricks, tightness, without judging or labeling those sensations. Simply answer those sensations with the movement that your body wants, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then you can continue to do that whenever you're ready to create stillness. You can do this seated or standing. If you're standing, rock your body weight around and find the four corners of your feet. And if you're seated, rock your body weight around and find your two sitting bones. And then I just invite you to equally distribute your body weight as much as possible, either on all four corners of both feet or on your two sitting bones. Maybe take one more shoulder roll, shoulders up to your ears and back down onto your back. Stack your shoulders over your hips. And then I'd invite you to close your eyes or take a soft gaze at the floor in front of you. On your next inhale, reach the crown of your head up toward the ceiling. On your next exhale, gently ground into the floor, allowing the earth to hold you up. Bring your awareness to the crown of your head. Slowly work it down to the soles of your feet, continuing to notice what's there. Notice sensations in your body. Open up that pathway between the mind and the body. Allow the feeling body to feel what it feels. and invite in a sense of calm. And then gently bring your awareness to your breath. No need to alter your breath at all. Simply notice that you're breathing. Allow the sound and the rhythm of your breath to soothe you. Invite in a soft belly and notice that belly expanding on your inhales and releasing on your exhales. Continue to follow your breath. That connection between the outer universe and our inner life. That connection between our minds and our bodies. Allow your breath to anchor you in the present moment as it arises and fades. Allow your breath to anchor you in your body where there is so much to notice. On your next inhale, fill your lungs all the way up, more than usual. Exhale slowly. And when you reach the bottom of your exhale, blink your eyes back open. Come on back to the surface. Beautiful. Thank you for breathing with me. I'm going to lead us just in one more simple body movement that allows us to kind of get some stuff unstuck, and then we'll go right into writing. So I'm going to invite you, sorry, Stina, I just saw you sit down. I'm going to invite you to stand up if that's available to you today. We're just going to do 4 really simple movements that I love. Place your feet about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit more. Okay. And on your inhale, raise your arms up over your head. On your exhale, cactus your arms. On your inhale, bring your forearms together. On your exhale, let your arms go. Okay, again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale together. Exhale, let it go. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale together. Exhale, arms down. Beautiful. And then take any other movement you want on your way back to your seat. I'm going to pass it over to Jevon, who's going to lead us in some writing.
Thank you, Ellie. That was so good. I kind of was thinking, man, if I could just have Ellie help me move into my writing sessions every time, that would be completely phenomenal, because I actually felt moved to write even while we were doing that. So that was really, really great. So yeah, I want to introduce a couple of writing prompts just to get you thinking about your next season of writing, which I hope that you are able to welcome with excitement and hope and positivity. And so one thing I would like for you, as we begin the prompt, I want you to put your mind to a place where you felt most powerful, energized, and excited about your writing. Maybe there was a moment where you wrote something that you felt was good and you said, oh, this is really good. Or maybe there was another moment where you were validated and someone said, you are a good writer. Maybe it was someone who mattered, of course, who you had, could not even imagine that they would think that your writing was good, but they felt like it was good. Maybe you met a deadline Maybe you were early for a deadline. Maybe you heard back from an editor or from a reader and they said that they just were so moved by your writing or something changed for them. But put yourself in that moment where you felt really, really good about your writing. And so from that same place of positivity, I want you to think about where you're going next. Because I want you to feel like you absolutely can do this next thing that you know you're supposed to do. So what I would like for you to begin to think about is where you're going next in your writing. What are some of the, okay, so we're to break it down just a little bit, but what are some of the risks that you know you need to take? You could feel that, oh, if I just, there's maybe just this thing you need to leap over. Name a couple of things that are there for you that you know you need to embark upon for your next writing project. Maybe it's putting together an outline. Maybe it's the book proposal. Maybe it's just thinking about a hook. Or maybe it's about writing out the plot summary for the next fiction piece that you're writing. Maybe it's putting together a pitch for an article that you want to see published. Whatever it is, name a couple of those things that you know feel a little bit challenging, risky, things that you've been maybe procrastinating on, and make a list about that. Make a list of a couple of things, just one or two things. And then I also want you to, at the same time, look at those things that are making you feel like you can't do it. Or what are some of the barriers in your way? What may be hindering you? They could be real or they could be imagined. Just start to think through some of those things. And then as you're thinking through those things, talk about or write about ways that you can overcome them. Do you need help? Do you need to be inspired? Do you need to rest and then get back to it? Do you need more information? Do you need to do research? What are some of the things that are that could be making you feel like you can't do it? Things that are in your way, barriers. And then from that, I want you to write down what you will do to make those things happen. What are some actions? I really want you to think of one action that you will take shortly after this writing workshop here, this Zoom meeting that we have here. What is the next right step for you? Of course, you could take this further and write out 10 steps if there are 10 steps, but I want you to think about that right next step for you, getting through these barriers and getting over the hump and getting right into what you know you should be doing for this next season. And I want you to think from a powerful place. Of course, we have a community here. We're not, even though we have to, no one can do what we do when it comes to our own assignments to write, but then we also have a community. We have people around us who may be able to give us the help we need. And I want you to kind of just realize that you're not alone, coming from a place of power, but I also want you to realize, yes, there's some things that, you know, only you can do. So I think that's pretty much what I want you to think about. So if I need to repeat it, I'm happy to. Number one, I want you to think about where you are in your writing. I want you to think about it positively and think about where you're going in this next season. What are some of the barriers to where you're trying to go? And then I want you to think about those actions that you need to take to get over those barriers so that you can get to where you're trying to go in this next season. And again, it could be, you know, I want to get an agent. I want to be published in a certain way. I want to self-publish. I want to get my book edited. It could be smaller things. I want to finish this chapter. I want to be able to write 500 words a day. It could be a number of things just to help you. I need to take a class, or I need to, whatever those things are, and just kind of break those down so that you know that you have a good, actionable plan to get it done. And so from here, I will give you a few minutes to kind of think through that. I'll give you about 5 minutes to write and think through those things. If anyone is brave enough and feels like they want to kind of have the group keep them accountable a little bit, you can definitely pop some up in the chat. Some of the things you're thinking of next, if you feel like doing that. All right. So we can definitely move into small groups and begin to write some of those, or talk through some of the things that you came up with. And of course, lean on each other if you need to kind of clarify some of your things that you want to commit to, or just to give each other encouragement. That'll be really great.
Okay, would you like, right now, we can move in?
Yes, we can begin to move
Okay.
into groups, yes.
Great. So you'll be in groups of about 3, one group of 4 for the next 15 minutes.
Stina, do you want to pause the recording?
Yes, let me figure out. Okay, pause Zoom recording. I would have totally forgotten. All right, welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
I think we're just waiting on one more group to re-enter. They must be having a good conversation. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. As we kind of segue now into our next part of our little alumni gathering here, we're going to do another giveaway. This time we're going to give away 2 books, one written by Ellie and one written by Jevon. So Ellie and Jevon, if you can hold up your books and just give us your elevator pitch. I didn't even prepare you for that, or just read the back of the book if you can't think of it. Tell us a little bit about your latest books, and then we'll do the giveaway so you guys can have a chance to win one.
All right, Jevon.
Oh, Ellie, you're so nice. This is my book, Pray Here Write, 21 Days of Prayer and Fasting for Breakthrough in Your Writing. Throughout my Christian experience, fasting and prayer have been part of one of, some of the spiritual practices that I've done throughout my life. And when I feel like I need a fresh inspiration from God, I really just dive in. And I feel like there's just this overpowering need for me to really engage with the Spirit of God. I fast and pray if I'm looking for an answer, if I need just to feel like I'm connected with Him in a really intimate way. I do that. So for writing, editing, I was an editor for, I'm still an editor, but in-house editor for 14 years, acquisitions and things. So really just depending on Him for that. So I wrote this book out of that. And for each it's a daily devotional, and there's a prayer, a writing prompt, and 3 pages of lines for you to write what you feel like God is saying to you, or what you feel moving in your heart. And it really just has, if you've ever heard of Morning Pages by Julia Cameron, this is sort of kind of patterned after that, but it really just refreshes and ignites your writing. So that's what Pray Here Write is all about. And there are tons of reviews on Amazon so that you can see how it's impacted writers' lives, but definitely a really great resource.
Okay, and then 12 Tiny Things, in a world that says more is more. It's a book about simplicity and intentionality, and we believe that the little things might be the big things. So it's about curating a micro spiritual practice. How do you do one tiny thing a day on purpose as a way to curb overwhelm? The world is very overwhelming right now, and we can't solve all the world's problems before lunch. So what's that first tiny thing that we can do that kind of gets us activated and gets us living our lives on purpose?
Thank you. Yeah, Ellie's book encouraged me to go outside every day and look at the sky. And that's the only, like, that's the tiny thing that I do. I'm like, okay, Stina, you can go and look at the sky, and I still do it. So I love that. And thank you, Jevon. I'm going to go buy your book now, because I think I need that. That sounds amazing. So for this giveaway, the first two people to answer this question, type in the last book, the title of the last book that you read that inspired you. Okay, so we have two winners, Malcolm and Danielle DL. So you guys will each get a copy of both of these books. So just send me in a private message, your mailing address, and I'll get those off to you.
And then steal the other titles from the chat. I loved that prompt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna write those titles down.
All right, so now you guys had a chance to kind of share in small groups about barriers and where you're at with your writing life. If you had any resources that came up in your conversation, an idea that you heard from a conversation partner or something that you shared, please start putting those in the chat as well, because I think there's so much, you know, we all have something to offer, right, in a writing community. And so trying to share the goodness that kind of came from your conversations in the chat will hopefully help everyone be able to connect with something and take something from this time together. So go ahead and start sharing those. And if someone wants to share something out loud because they're like, oh, I can't sum it up in a chat, we have time maybe for two people to share. So you can, I think you have the option to raise your hand in chat, and you guys can look at the bottom of your Zoom screen. But if you would like to share, go ahead and raise your hand. And if nobody does, we'll just keep going on to Q&A with Ellie and Javon. But I, for one, would love to hear. Oh, sorry. Carla is telling me that Gigi responded first. Oh, Jesus and me. I'm so sorry. I didn't see that. I think I thought it was part of, so Gigi and Malcolm, you guys are winners. I'm sorry, Danielle. You guys were the winners of the giveaway. I'm sorry I missed that. But does anybody want to share a resource or something that came up by raising their hand? Feel free to do that now. Don't be shy. Okay, well, that's okay. And we're also not afraid of silence here in the monastic world. So, you know, we can have a pregnant pause. I'm just going to read some things I'm seeing coming up in the chat. So learning to write for yourself after publishing a big project. That's a great one.
That is a good one.
Nancy writes, in my group, we found we had so much in common that an emerging friendship is a resource. Oh, I love that. I love that. I mean, there's some amazing connections that happen in writing workshops. And then we kind of go our separate ways. And then, you know, reconnecting with friends or meeting someone new in this group, it's a great opportunity to say, hey, do you want to hold each other accountable? What are ways that we can continue to encourage each other? So if you found yourself connecting with someone here, I encourage you to don't be shy to reach out afterwards, exchange emails through direct message right now so that you can stay in touch. Malcolm says, I needed to talk to people as my next step. The first person I talked to in today's workshop has actually taught someone going through what I'm going through. So, wow, that's awesome. Really encouraging to hear. It's great. Okay, well, keep adding things to the chat if there's a resource you want to share. I also want to just open it up for Q&A. We have, this amazing resource of having Javon Bolden, who is a literary agent, right here at our fingertips to be able to ask whatever questions you have. So if you do have a question for Javon or for Ellie about writing or embodiment, please go ahead and put those in there and we'll take as many questions as we can before we need to wrap up. Oh, I see Malcolm has raised his hand. Malcolm, do you want to unmute and ask a question?
Yeah, my question is to both of you, actually, your perspectives with something Ellie mentioned, writing and publishing with a religious publisher and writing and publishing beyond a religious publisher. What are your thoughts?
Ellie, I'll let you lead that.
Yeah, I think that I think about it in terms of distribution and audience, right? So the first book that I wrote was a spiritual memoir, and I published that with Chalice Press. And they were really good at finding my intended audience for that. Because it was a spiritual memoir, it was going to tend toward that way. But then my second book was about a girls' soccer team in Kenya. And there were definitely some spiritual aspects about it, but it wasn't overtly religious. And I went with a secular press for that because they were able to distribute it to an audience that was more focused on those themes. And so when we're working with there are pros and cons to self-publishing and publishing with a press. And one of the nice things that a press offers is those distribution channels that are already established. And so when you're working on the project, what is this and who is my intended audience? It's really looking through a catalog of a publishing house and seeing what the other titles are, who their kind of niche market is, and who's going to be a good fit for you. And because when you propose to them and they say, okay, this is the type of thing that we do, that's when you're going to get a yes from them because they already have those pathways established. So it's looking at kind of what other books are going to be on the shelf with your book and who's your intended audience, and then what press is publishing the things that are similar to yours. They're going to be the ones that are going to be able to get it to that ideal reader. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah, that's really good. And I would definitely agree with that. You definitely want to make sure that you're matching your message with the right publisher and imprint, things that are along those lines. And a publisher will usually reject or accept based on that as well. But of course, yeah, there's some overlap there. But the other aspect I think I want to add to that is some of the larger publishers, Christian publishers, such as, Thomas Nelson or Zondervan or Waterbrook and Multnomah. Those are also imprints that are part of, that are owned by mainstream publishers, the big five. So there are some additional benefits there. So there are religious publishers who are owned by the big five, and then there are those who are independent and that are kind of, really, really specific to a certain audience, a certain niche, and a certain set of genres and concepts and topics. But then there are others, like I said, like those other ones that are owned by larger big five publishers who have access to larger distribution, marketing, PR, things like that. But of course, those publishers are usually looking for, that's when the platform conversation comes up. A lot of those publishers are looking for authors with pretty significant platforms. But yeah, those are some things to consider when it comes to, publishing with a religious or mainstream house.
Okay, I think we've got maybe time for one more question, and it looks like there's a good combination of ones in the chat that are related. So can you speak about getting an agent, and related to that, the right stage to reach out to a literary agent and how you would go about finding or choosing one? What would be core questions that would likely determine fit in the partnership?
So when it comes to finding an agent, I would say you definitely want to do your research, because you do, again, it's the same thing as, looking for the right publisher. You want to make sure the agent is representing titles that are similar to yours. Maybe they have a track record of finding publishing opportunities for their authors who are publishing things similar to yours. And I would say that, a way to do that would be looking at, there's Christian Marketplace. I think I'm saying that, Christian Marketplace, that has a guide to literary agents. And then there's also, I'm not gonna remember. There's one for the mainstream part of the industry as well. I would start, for that one, I would start at Writer's Digest. That's a great avenue to find a literary agent. Ellie, please jump in if you have any other recommendations. Asking your writer friends who may be represented how their relationships are going with their agent. Looking inside the book acknowledgements, books that you like from authors that you admire. Sometimes they give shout outs to their agents. Those are other ways. And attending writers' conferences are also great ways to find literary agents, especially to be able to sit down and talk with some agents to get appointments and things like that. When it comes to this, let me pause there just in case somebody else, Ellie, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
This is unscientific, but you can follow literary agents on social media and they'll suggest other lit agents, and they might not be a good fit for you, but if you look them up, there tend to be big agencies with 20, 25 agents. You start to read the bios and start to find some good fits that way too.
Yeah, that's really great. I love the idea of following. Social media is the best for being nosy and the best for nice stalking people. You don't want to really stalk people, but I mean, all of our information is just out there. So definitely social media is a great tool. And as far as where you are in your writing, when you should start looking for an agent, I would say when you really feel good about the concept that you're working on, you've really honed it. Maybe you've workshopped it a little bit. Maybe you have, maybe you're a person who leads workshops. Maybe you're a person who speaks or teaches or preaches, and the message has really resonated with your audience. Maybe you're a writer for, maybe you have a column or something, or a podcast, and you know that there's a concept that's really taking off, and you've begun to maybe test it in social media through posts. Maybe you've begun to blog about it, whatever it is, and you see that it's really taking off, and you're able to put together a book proposal based on that and an outline. I would say that would be really a great time to start to look for a literary agent. You want to show that your platform, your message is really gaining ground, and that there is a platform kind of forming around your ideas.
Thank you so much, Javon and Ellie. And I'm sorry to have to cut this short. I know there's probably a lot more questions that people have, but we want to respect people's time, and it is almost 11 o'clock, at least here in the Midwest. So I just want to say, yes, thank you to you, Javon and Ellie, for sharing your expertise and energy and insight with us. And I also just want to thank all of you for taking time to come online and connect with the Collegeville Institute today. I just want to let you know too that later today, in just 1 hour, if you're so inclined, we have another virtual event in our Collegeville Connections virtual event series. It's on rural ministry and mental health. And our very own Jessie Bazan, who's here in this call, will be facilitating a wonderful panel of clergy women talking about rural issues and mental health. So if you want to join us for that, you can find information on our events tab on our website. And also on Wednesday, April 6th, we are hosting another Collegeville Connections event all about writing, and it's called Crafting the Concrete, Strengthening Our Stories. You can join Collegeville Institute Writing Workshop Facilitator Patrice Gopo for a craft discussion about using concrete detail in spiritual writing. It's going to be fabulous. You should all register for that if you haven't already. So yeah, watch for this event information on our website. The registration information is all right there. But without further ado, just want to say thank you all for being here and enjoy your Grubhub lunch. And I hope that you stay connected to the Collegeville Institute.
Thank you
Keep
so much.
writing. Keep writing. Keep writing. Be well. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Take care.